Do you know they are hiding something completely worldview changing at the North Pole? But I'm not talking this North Pole because we don't live on a globe. I'm talking the North Pole at the center of our flat realm. And more specifically, right here, a place that used to be on our maps called Hyperborea. You see, if you've seen any of my videos, you know I fully believe that we're living in a time past revelation of the Bible. And if that's true, then Jesus has already come back and tribulation has happened and Satan is here deceiving the nations after he is let loose from his 1,000-year imprisonment. And potentially what they're hiding in that center, in that North Pole, is the great floating city of Jerusalem. Because whether you realize it or not, there is surveillance all along the border of that north area. And they say it's to know if people are coming across, but I fully believe it's so they know if anyone's going towards that Hyperborea. It's called the Dew Line, and they spent hundreds of millions of dollars creating this.
Above the Arctic Circle comes the first film report of a 3,000-mile radar warning network across the top of the world. The distant early warning line, the Dew Line. In camps like this, from Baffin Bay across the continent to the Bering Sea, 5,000 men are working. With steam-assisted pile drivers, they're forging an electronic chain to give North America 6 hours of warning of enemy attack. Scores of bases like these will be built in 2 more years. The $400 million Dew Line at the top of the world.
And not only did they build that Dew Line to protect anything from going into that center to know what's really there, but there are reports that Admiral Byrd flew over that area and found something that his eyes could not believe. A crystal city as described in the Bible.
August 1946. Esteemed U.S. naval officer and explorer Admiral Richard Byrd, one of the first pilots to fly over both the North and South Poles. During his explorations, Admiral Byrd allegedly came upon something highly unexpected.
This story is said to come from his diaries, not his published account of the trip, but something he held back and then later was suppressed by government authorities that found it frightening.
He discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. I mean, it was temperate. His squadron flew under the earth, into the earth.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal.
Now I think the comments about flying into the earth are a distraction, as are the comments that they make about this being an alien city. I think what he really found is New Jerusalem, because look how it's described here. Pure gold like glass, and its brilliance like a very costly stone as a crystal clear jasper. And if we're living in the time that I believe we are, past revelation, when Satan is here to deceive the nations with things like the globe and Big Bang and evolution, well, maybe there are people that are opposed to that deception, and they're sending us signals and warnings so we can understand who the deceivers are.
Oliver's Castle, Wiltshire, 1989.
There's a couple of lights down there somewhere.
This controversial film appears to show strange objects hovering above a cornfield. Below, complex circle formations appear.
Maybe crop circles and those orbs of light that create the crop circles are literal warnings letting us know of the deceivers. This one specifically was decoded, and it said, "Beware the bearer of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception." Funny how the Bible talks about this time of Satan and deceiving the nations, and they're talking about deception. And this, most people would say, is an alien, but to me, it looks an awful lot like a demon. Very much so like the demon lamb that Aleister Crowley has talked about. And funny, they look a lot like aliens too. I believe there are demons here among us, and there are fallen angels here among us, and they're deceiving us and trying to pull us away from God. And there are some godly beings out there trying to warn us. But not only that, they put it right in plain sight. They put it right in the commercials and tell us that they are keeping us from that center, from that North Pole, from potentially the Camp of the Saints in New Jerusalem.
Behind its wall of beautiful teeth, Toothopolis is under constant siege by the cavity creeps.
We make Hogan teeth. Cresty, look! Crest team, the cavity creeps are coming.
We'll fight them with Crest's fluoride.
Watch trees, see your dentist, and fight the cavity creeps like the Crest team. Fight cavities with Crest.
It just so happens that fluoride is toxic for the pineal gland, and that the pineal gland is often referred to as the spiritual gland. So maybe they're trying to cut off our connection with the spirit realm in Jesus, and knowing that potentially he's still here on this flat realm that we live on. And we are supposed to choose God and Jesus and not fall for the deception that is here, deceiving us on a daily basis. And you might think this entire story is ridiculous, but this looks an awful lot like something that NASA caught not too long ago. This was an image the Hubble, I'm not going to say space telescope because it's not in space, but the Hubble telescope caught. And that looks an awful lot like that city of gold and that city of crystal. So you might think all of this is just conjecture and just my opinion and I'm speculating, and it is. It's only speculation, but I think I make a great case for the fact that maybe at the north of our flat realm, it's not just ice and desolate water, but something much, much more important.